Hi, so my name's Jace, and I hope you're ready for me to stumble my way through this 10-minute voiceover. As you can see, I am swatching my 12-pack of Copic Cool Greys. They range from C0 through to C10 with a 100, which is a pure black. And then my Pigma Microns and mechanical pencil as well, just to make sure they didn't smudge. So these have been sat on my shelf for probably about 3 years. Yeah, they're probably about 3 years old, and I really decided that it's really about time for me to learn how to use them. I used them probably twice when I bought them, and then was completely intimidated by seeing all of the really cool Copic work that's put out by, every other artist ever. And I got incredibly intimidated and just put them on my shelf, like, oh yeah, I'll use them next time. And next time came and went, and I didn't use them. So it was time to actually learn to use them. So what I'm going to do is I'm challenging myself to make my way through an alphabet of cool fictional characters. And I've got written down fictional girls, but I'm not entirely sure they'll be all girls. I don't know yet if anything else will crop up, but it'll be mostly girls because girls are cool. And there's gonna be some like Marvel and DC, like the really classic people, but I'm gonna try and involve some game characters and some indie characters, things from graphic novels, and other like interesting characters that I feel don't get enough love as like your main girls. But yeah, so we'll work our way through and we'll find out who I'm drawing when I get there. So this is A. This is Miss America, aka America Chavez. She's incredibly cool. And yeah, I think she works quite well. She's a very classic comic book character, so I can draw her in quite a classic style and just really get used to these markers and not have to worry about how, like, putting my own spin on anything. I'm just going with what I know already, which is where the light would hit, roughly, kind of. It's not perfect. And like my basic ideas of layering them. Like, there's obviously a lot of mistakes. You saw me at the start thumbnailing kind of, and I went with the one with the flag behind rather than just like the gradiated sky because I wasn't quite confident enough to do like a full gradient across her background. So we're just going with a flag. And there's already a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure like loads of you are just like screaming them out at me. The main one being that I'm drawing straight on top of the pencil sketch. but like I said, this is just for me to learn. Like about halfway through, I was like, I should have done this differently. But next time, it's all a learning experience, isn't it? So you can see me kind of darkening things up and realizing actually to make her look like she has that dark coloured skin, I need to darken her a lot more than the shades I was using. I think I'd only gone up to about C3, maybe a C4 for like the darkest shading, and I was like, no, this doesn't cut it. And then I wasn't really sure about how to do hair, so I just put down where the highlights are and just then did everything else black. I feel like if I go back at the end and redo some of like the early ones, that I'll be able to do hair a lot better. Again, it's just a practice thing. And it'll come with time, and it'll look better with time, I'm sure. I was really pleased with some of the wrinkles on the shirt. I think they looked quite effective. And the belt buckle, which is like my favourite part of this, because it's the original Miss America had this shield emblem on her like classic old style costume, and it was like this big shield, so I've put that as the belt buckle, which I think is like a really cool feature of this piece. I was like so happy with it. Another of my favourite bits. Oh, this white pencil did not work at all. I tried like scraping it down and it still wasn't showing up at all. So I'm gonna get a hold of some white gel pens for the next piece I do. I think at the end I go in with some white gouache to lighten things up, and just spread it thinly if on the bits that I needed light enough or lighter. Again, like there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things like I already know that are wrong or that I was doing badly from the start or I didn't know actually how to do. Yeah, so there are some small bits I'm proud of, and I was quite pleased with it overall as like a starting point, but it's not looking great. So this is where I start lining. I think next time I will probably do the lining first, and the Copics afterwards, just to see how I like that way around. Like I wasn't sure which would work best for me, and everywhere I read online said that it's a personal preference kind of thing. So just over time I'll probably pick up on whichever way I like doing it more. And lining is so damn intimidating. I don't know how people do it like for entire pages. Like how is that your entire job, to ink things? Like God, that's terrifying. And there are so many mistakes. So many. Like if you're watching this and you know how to do these things, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. But I already like see things that I want to improve upon and get better at, which is the point of doing this, I guess. The point of making my way through this alphabet of badly drawn Copic sketches is to have the final ones be less badly drawn. Or at least that's the idea. We'll see, I guess. So the anatomy in this isn't the worst thing in the world, but the pose is a bit unimaginative. She's just kind of standing there, not really doing anything. But again, I just did this so that I could see how the materials work and see how they felt and see how I use them personally, not to create something that looked good. That wasn't the point of this. And for something that I was not focusing on the final piece of, I think it looks alright. Again, I was super proud of the little shield with its little highlights. I really like the t-shirt. The jacket's alright, it's a bit meh, and the sleeve kind of sucks. But if you ignore that, I like the like open waterfall collar or whatever it's called. I think that came out alright. I really like the shorts. I think they've got a cool texture. And I like how the thick line around everything looks. It really gives that kind of old comic vibe, which is really cool. I just did that with a black pencil because I didn't have a thick black pen nearby. So yeah, it's like a really scrappy black line. And it's not very neat, but it got the point across. And it has roughly the same effect, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world, really, was it? And yeah, so overall, good learning experience. On to the next one. Bye.